A very warm welcome to you, Miss Akhila. Thank you for being with us today. Did you know that a toddler can experience the same level of frustration as an adult when they can't express themselves? It's no wonder why those I don't want to moments feel like emotional explosions. Children's behavior is often their way of communicating their feelings. If you are a parent or soon to be parent, have you ever wondered what should I do? Why does my child act like this? Am I a good parent? You have probably seen those moments when your child's behavior leaves you feeling helpless or confused. From tantrums in the park to excessive screen time at the dinner table, these behaviors are more common in today's kids. We often feel helpless because our parents have never faced these issues. Today, on the occasion of Children's Day, we have a special session that will give you the tools to decode the child's behavior and transform those tricky moments into meaningful connections. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday series. I'm Chandana Vasist. I lead the social media at Onsurity and I'll be your host for today. I'm super excited about the session because understanding the why behind children's behavior can make a world of difference in how we respond as parents. To help us navigate this topic, we have a wonderful expert with us, Ms. Akhila R N, the founder and director of Dhwani Centre for Speech and Language Intervention. With nearly 8 years of experience in the field, she has helped many families decode their child's behavior, offering practical insights to create smoother and harmonious relationships at home. Her approach combines research-backed strategies with deep sense of empathy, and she's certified in Henan therapy, play therapy, and talk tools, among other credentials. Today, she is going to walk with us through why children behave the way they do and how we can respond in ways that build trust and emotional bonds. Akila, the floor is yours. We are so excited to learn from you.
Thank you so much, Chandana. Good evening, everybody. I am so glad that we are doing this particular topic on the eve of Children's Day, and I'm very glad that I have so many of you with me today. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Just before we start off, if you have any questions in between, you can just put it in the chat section. We'll take it at the end of the session.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so welcome again, everybody, for a discussion on what, why, and how decoding the world of child's behavior. So today's session, let's keep it a little interactive. Although I won't be hearing your voices, keep going in the comment section. And whenever you have any question, like Chandana was saying, keep it posted. Whenever we have a question and answer session, we will definitely get into it. So let's start off by looking by what is our agenda for today. So firstly, we are going to discuss about what is a behavior exactly. And when a behavior occurs, that means there is a reason for it to occur. So we will also learn about why does a behavior occur. And today's main takeaway for all of you would be how to deal with such behaviors. So that will be the third thing we are addressing. So the main thing that we are covering is the what, why, and how, as our webinar itself says. Then we'll have an exclusive Q&A session where we'll discuss all the questions that you have posted. But feel free to not wait until the end and post a question whenever you have a question. But we will get to it when we come to the Q&A session. So before we start off, I would really want to understand who are my audience today. Like, I want to understand you all. So I have a question for you. I think Chandana is going to launch a poll where you all take a minute and tell me how many of you are here who have children who are younger than 6 years. Then how many of you are here who have children between 6 years and 10 years? And how many of you have children who are 10 to 12, that is pre-teenagers? And how many of you are to be parents who are expecting children? So just take a minute to respond to this and we will continue from there. So we'll just, Chandana, will you update me when they're done with the polling? Or we'll give them a minute, I think. I don't think we can hear you.
Sorry. So 48% is below 6 years.
Okay. Okay.
Most.
All right.
And a few of them, to like 20%, are 6 to 10 years.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you all for taking time to get into that poll. So before we get into the topic, so I think Chandana introduced me and she said that I'm a speech language pathologist, so a speech therapist in common terms. When you hear about behaviors, there are other professionals who would be, dealing with difficult to manage behaviors and behavioral issues. So then what am I doing here? What am I going to talk to you about with respect to behaviors? So today we are going to look into how changing the way we talk or saying some things in a different way, the children's difficult behaviors can be managed. So I would call it like a SLP's way of dealing with behaviors. So we speech language pathologists, that is SLPs, we are not just people who teach children to talk. We also help build language in children who have a speech and language delay. We help in teaching communication to children who have difficulties or diagnosis like autism or social language communication disorder. We also help children with stuttering and voice problems. The same way, we use language to manage difficult behaviors of children, which will help you build a strong emotional and social relationship with your child. So that is how today we are going to look into like how we can use language and the language perspective of managing difficult to handle behaviors. So now that we have a little introduction, let's start into our main topic. So answering the first question of today's webinar, that is the what. What exactly is a behavior? Even now, if you just Google it out, what is a behavior? So what answer you would get is that behavior is the way in which either an animal or a person will behave for a particular, in response to a particular stimulus or to a particular situation. But the response can be either positive, that is easily manageable, or it can be difficult to manage as well. Today, in today's webinar, we're going to completely focus on difficult to manage behaviors. So keeping that in mind, what is a behavior or a difficult to manage behavior is, for example, when your child is crying, shouting, throwing toys, throwing objects, being stubborn, screaming, storming out of the room, being, wanting their way to be done every single time. These are some of the behaviors which is difficult for us to manage, right? So those are the behaviors we are going to keep in mind while we're listening to this whole webinar, so that you can try relating to it, based on what you want to learn or pick up from today. So think about your child and some of the behaviors which is difficult to manage for you, and then try to apply whatever we are learning today to those difficult to manage behaviors. So these are the behaviors that we are going to think about today. Then whenever there is a behavior, it usually occurs because the child wants to communicate something with us. So there is a communication reason behind a behavior. For example, if I want to call out to somebody, say I want to call Chandana, I will just say, hey Chandana, can you listen to me? Instead of saying that, if I, just go and hit her, that is my way of communicating that I want to call her. but the appropriate way of doing it would be the first way rather than the second way. Right. So let us figure out what exactly is the cause behind the behaviors that our children might be showing. So first thing might be due to an emotional development. Say your child is between 2 to 5 years of age. That is when we see a lot of emotional developments happening, and that is the age range when we see a lot of different behaviors developing, because that is the time when they're experiencing a lot of emotions for the first time. So they don't know exactly how to express it, and it all comes out in the form of a behavior. So they're trying to respond to their emotion, but they don't know how to appropriately do that. Also, that is the age when you would have observed, we say terrible twos, right? When the children want to keep moving, want to keep doing something their own way. So they're trying to explore how to be independent. They're trying to figure out how they can work things out. But as a natural instinct of a parent, we would want to safeguard our children. We would want to keep them protected. So we try to stop them or deny that independence just for the reasons of safety. And that denial also is something that they're facing for the first time. Then they don't know how to react to that kind of a response from the parent. Because until then, if you would have seen, until like 2 years, it's all like playful, right? We're playing a lot with children. We are being very fun with them. But when they start moving a lot is when we start restricting them with their movements. Don't touch that. Don't go here. Be careful. Don't do this. So when we're starting to deny all this, then they don't know how to react to it. So that is when they also start communicating the resistance to that denial in the form of a behavior. Then another reason could be when the child's physical health is not up to the mark. Say, for example, we as adults, when we have a cold or a cough or fever or some kind of a flu symptom, do you think we could work so productively as we would if we were in a complete 100% health form? No, not possible. The same thing applies to the children also. So when they're having some kind of an uncomfortableness, some stomach issue, some cold or cough, congestion, they don't know how to express that, and they're not able to say it in any other way other than showing it, that irritability, that fussiness, all that is also similar to a behavior. Another reason could be when the child wants attention from your side. A very common example would be when a second baby is born, when there is a sibling. You would not have seen some things that the older sibling does, which they wouldn't have done before. So, for example, they might go near the baby and, pinch it, or they might try doing something which they haven't done so that you look at them. So they want to tell you that, please look at me as well. Maybe because they're not prepared as much that, okay, the attention is completely going towards this new person that is in the house. Of course, when there is a newborn, there is a shift of attention, which is very natural. But the older sibling may not be that prepared. So then they might start doing some behaviors to get that attention from you. So if we start replacing those attention-seeking behaviors with something appropriate, it is still okay, because that child is also a child. They also need that much of a care and attention from the parents. When they've got it for like 4 or 5 years, they want it back again. So that might be another reason for children to show some behaviors. And sometimes even to get some particular reaction out of us, children might exhibit difficult behaviors. For the most common example that I can think of is, say the child wants phone from you, and one person has not given, the second person has not given, so the child starts crying, throwing a tantrum. Then somebody in the family or somebody of your friends would have given in. So now what is the link for them? If I need the phone, I need to cry and do all this drama for this long so that I can get the phone. Instead of just asking, I need the phone, or accepting that no from you, they start doing this so that they get that phone from you. So that might also be another reason, to get the exact same reaction, because they've understood it. Now I did it once, I'm going to get it again if I do the same thing. They will start using those behaviors as a means to get something. And if a child is trying to come out of a situation that is like an escape, for example, if you want your child to do a homework, until then everything is fine, everything is okay. As soon as you make them sit to do something, they'll start feeling thirsty. They need to drink a lot of water. They want to keep going to the bathroom. Suddenly they're hungry. Suddenly they feel sleepy. All sorts of reasons keep coming in. So that is again because some at one point of time we would have responded in that way because it might have been genuine, but they have associated that with, okay, I don't want to do the homework, I want to get up and go so I can do all these things, so amma is going to let me go from here. So that is another reason why it might be happening. And if a child has any associated communication difficulties, then chances of having behaviors will increase, again because there is a lack of communicating anything effectively. So these are some, some of the reasons that, are commonly seen as to why behaviors occur. Now, based on what we saw, if a child is doing any action, say for example, throwing something or hitting or crying or shouting, we as a family or a parent or any adult associated with the child will give some sort of a response, right? So whatever is our first response to some kind of an action, it can be a negative response or a positive response. But based on how we have reacted or responded to that particular behavior, that action will become either challenging behavior or not a challenging behavior. So let's try to understand as a parent or an adult or a caregiver, how are we going to do or how are we going to handle these situations so that the behaviors need not be challenging. We can try managing it in a better way. So that brings us to the main takeaway for you guys today. That is, how do we manage these behaviors? Today we will discuss 6 easy to apply strategies for dealing with behaviors. This can be used in your daily life in any situation to make it better for you as well as your child. So the first and the most, the important thing is something called ABC. So A stands for antecedent. That is something which has happened before the behavior has occurred. B stands for the behavior itself. So what is happening? What is the behavior? And C stands for the consequence or what is our response after the behavior has happened. So before and during the behavior and after the behavior. Let's try to get a better clarity on this ABC with one example. A very common example. Now, a lot of us are working. So we are, imagine you are working, you're busy or you're in a meeting. So you're sitting in front of your laptop or a device. Your child has come to you, approached you because he or she wants you to play. But you are not able to give that time right now. So you have tried telling the child has not accepted that response because the child only wants you to come. Leave the work and come. But that is not possible. So the child has tried and tried and tried. Finally, the child comes to you, starts typing something on your laptop or closes the laptop or pushes you. That is his or her behavior. Now, there can be 2 ways of response to this. One is option number 1. You get very angry with what the child has done and you say, I told you I'm coming. Just wait for a minute. Go that side. That is option number 1. Option number 2, you just calm down. You think just one step behind the behavior. Why did my child do this? So now you know why. Based on that, you tell the child, I know you're calling me many times, but please give me 5 minutes. I'm just coming to you. By that time you finish doing this puzzle, I will come with you. Now, these are the 2 options. Why don't you guys take this poll and tell me, will option number 1 reduce your child's behavior or option number 2 reduce your child's behavior? 1 being the angry response, 2 being the calm response. Do we have some responses coming in?
Yeah. Most of them, I mean, all of them almost have voted for the second one, which is saying they respond calmly.
Amazing. That is what you have to do actually. So, as I was discussing in the previous slides, that the way we respond becomes a, like a basis to whether the behavior is going to be challenging or it is going to be non-challenging. So if the option number two, so you take one step back and just think what happened, why did he do that right now? So then you understand the reason, you will be able to respond better. So based on your consequence, your child's response also is going to be better. So like option number two, if I tell just give me 5 minutes, you finish the puzzle, I will be there with you in 5 minutes, then the child is going to wait for 5 minutes. Versus if you keep responding angrily, the child is not going to stop disturbing you, because the child's motive is they want you to come to them. That's it. So until and unless they get that from you, they're going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. So to make them understand, you need to first analyze why did that happen. So the C part is very important. Whenever you see a behavior from your child, just go back a few seconds, like rewind few seconds of what happened and try to analyze the different reasons that we discussed. Is it because the child is sick? The child is very irritable. Or is it because the child wants to go out of that situation? Is it because the child wants my attention? Is it because they're trying to express something and it is difficult? That is getting frustrating for them. Based on that analysis that you do for those few seconds, the way you respond will change. So your consequence will change. What will be your consequence? That we will start discussing now. So just remember that for anything you do, first thing you have to do is your ABC. So just take one step back. Okay. One more thing, like as I was telling you in the ABC, the antecedent itself, right? Before it can happen itself, if we can prevent it, why not try that? So why don't we understand how to prevent ourselves from responding impulsively? Two things that we can do is changing a little bit in our environment and pre-preparing our children. So what do we do? What are the changes in the environment that we have to do? Imagine whenever your baby was born, did you not baby proof your whole house so that your child will not hit somewhere, he or she will not get hurt somewhere, or you will try taking out all the glass items as soon as the child is standing up so that it doesn't fall and your child doesn't get hurt? Because if you've closely observed, when children start doing that is when we as parents will start responding, no, 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 don't do that. Stop, don't go there, go here. Because we are concerned for the safety of our children. So that is how we start responding. And like I was, discussing that denial of independence. Now, when we start saying, no, don't do that, the child will not stop because they feel denied of whatever they want to do, how they want to explore. So they will still keep going. So the better option would be try keeping everything safe for your child. Now, once you know that, okay, probably if the child is in this room, I would make sure that there is nothing sharp around here. There are no glass items around here, or there is no spillable items here, or there is nothing which is hot or which is really cold, which will, hurt the child. So then I can leave the baby alone also in this room, and I will not be worried that I will react impulsively. So try making, slight environmental changes so that you don't have to stop them, right? Another example that I can think of is like when, children start developing, scribbling skill, right? You would have seen on all the walls, they want to scribble. But as parents or grandparents or relatives, we have that tendency of saying, don't write on the wall because it's not going to look good. So how can we prevent that from happening? First of all, it is happening because that is a new skill that the child has learned. So the child wants to use it everywhere and anywhere. Have you seen a school-going child doing that? Because they're always writing. They will not write on the wall. They are tired of writing already. But when they are learning it new, they want to keep doing it again and again because it's a new skill. They want to explore how to do it. So one thing we can do is we tell them that, give them hundreds of paper, tell them you can scribble how much ever you want on this. Let's not do it on the wall. And if there is an option and feasibility to change at least one portion of the wall with like, something that you can stick and remove, or you can put some washable paint for some time being, so that they also have that feeling of scribbling on the wall and you also can manage it easily. So you're tweaking it before you can respond by stopping the child from doing it. Okay, so that is how you can, these are some things that I can think of, but based on what your child does and based on your environment in your house, you may want to think of how you can modify whatever is around you so that you don't say no, or you don't stop your child from exploring whatever they are doing. Like a common example that I can think of is when they want to keep jumping everywhere. Like you might see they want to jump on the bed, they want to jump on the sofa, from sofa to the floor, from sofa to another chair. So when this jumping is happening, they want that kind of a movement for their body. So either we join them and make it a really fun activity. So you're holding them, making them bounce, they're jumping towards you, you're catching them, or keep pillows around the child so that even if the child falls, there is no harm. So you don't stop them from jumping itself, rather support the environment in such a way that they're still getting that stimulation in a safe manner. Another way of preventing is by pre-preparing your child way beforehand. So this step might especially be required when you have to move your child or transition your child from his or her favorite activity. Like your child really likes to watch the TV and you have set a particular time, say 5 minutes or 10 minutes you're going to watch. So before even switching on the TV, you first prepare the child saying that, see, now the clock is at 5 o'clock. Either when the clock comes at 10 or 10 minutes is when we are going to watch the TV. Or you set a timer which rings after 10 minutes and you say the timer is going to ring. And once the timer rings, we are going to switch off the TV. Or you choose a video or an episode in such a way that it is the desired time that you want to give screen time to your child. Say if you want to give them 5 minutes, show them an episode or a video which is only 5 minutes and tell them once this video is over, we are going to switch off the TV. That is one thing. Or it can be another place where, they are outside playing in the park or with friends and they're not ready to come back home. So before even they are leaving the house, you prep them saying, this is the time we are going, this is the time we are going to come back. Or you tell them, if you're taking them to the park, tell them there is slide, seesaw, monkey bars. After we play all this, maybe 2 times or 3 times, give them a set number basically. After this is when we are going to come back home. But make sure that if you are prepping them, say you're telling them first you finish your homework, then I'm giving you 5 minutes of TV time. You follow through that. You keep up that promise. If you're going to change that in between, keep the child also updated about that change. Like you want to give them TV time, but suddenly there's somebody who comes in and you're not able to switch on the TV. Then instead, replace that with something else. Tell them that, why don't you do your favorite Lego? When we come back, when it's time for us to watch the TV, I will give you that 5 minutes extra. And stand by that word. Tell them that, see, now as promised, I've given you 5 minutes extra. So that they know that whatever you promised, you will do it. Because that will again reflect when they want to do something, they know, okay, when I ask, they're going to give me. So the same thing they will also do. When you ask something for them to do, they will also do it because you have always been keeping up your promises with them. So these are the 2 things that you can easily do, which can prevent the behavior from occurring itself. And while the behavior is occurring, one simple thing that you can actually try is a calm down. Now say when we are very angry, when we are very emotional, when somebody tries to explain something to us, we cannot listen to them. We are not that mindset to listen to another person at that time. So generally somebody else will wait for you to calm down so that they can talk to you. The same thing applies here. If your child starts crying or screaming or is in a very agitated mode, for you to explain to them that this is not happening, they need to be in that listening mindset. When they are in that agitation, they will not be able to listen to you. So just try holding your child's hand and then slowly in a calm way tell them that we'll count from 0 to 10 and let's calm down. But your tone also should be in the same way. You can't be angry and you can't count saying 1, 2, 3. You also need to be calm, hold their hand and count 1, 2. So in this manner, at least by the time you reach 8 or 9 or whatever set number you have given, at least 80% of that, your child will be at least calm by half amount of how much they were agitated before. So that is one thing you can try while the behavior is happening. Initially, when you start using this, it might not work because the child wants to show that agitation and you're holding their hand trying to calm them down. But once you start practicing it regularly, persist with it, then the child will understand it that you're trying to talk to them. Eventually, maybe after a few weeks, they will also start responding to this in a calmer way. Okay. Now, the main strategy, like I was saying, that today is an SLP's way of dealing with challenging behaviors, right? So the way we talk to children or the kind of words we use will have a great effect on dealing with the behaviors. So like the examples I was giving you all this while, did you notice that there was a different way that I was talking? Let's see what it was. What do we do and what do we not do? So we need not use negative words like no, stop, don't do that. Like how we were discussing initially, right? We usually tend to say no when we want our child to be safe. So if you've already done your antecedent or preventing the behavior from happening, you don't have to worry about saying no or stopping your child. The child, for example, is 2 to 6 years old and wants to play certain toys or certain games their own way. Let them do it. We don't have to interfere. When we were younger, not every time our parents or grandparents would come and tell us that you have to play this way. We would just go out, set our own rules, play our own way. Whenever we would get hurt, they would definitely give us an earful. But they wouldn't come and stop us from exploring whatever we were doing. So don't stop them from the way they want to play or how they want to do it. But let them start exploring it and try giving them that independence, keeping that safety boundaries in mind. The only place where you would say no or stop is when your child is in a danger. Like, for example, they don't know what a knife is and for the first time they're holding a knife or a scissor. So definitely it is dangerous. That is one situation when your child is in danger or is going to cause danger accidentally to somebody else. Then firmly say no. Only in these situations, if you use no, then the value of no is also maintained. The child knows, okay, if Appa or Amma is telling me no, that means I have to stop it now. Versus if you keep saying no for every single thing, the actual place when no is supposed to hold good also will not have meaning in it because it is being used everywhere. So try using no or stop only when the child is in that difficult situation. Now you might ask me, okay, if I can't say no, stop, then what am I going to do? How am I going to tell my child to do something else, which I don't want them to do? Try using a positive way of saying it. What we need to do is, instead of saying no, try saying first and then. You want your child not to go and sit in front of the TV. So then say, first reading book, then TV time. So try giving them a different way. Basically, you're telling them you're not going to watch TV now, But you're not saying it directly like this, but you're saying it first you finish this, then we will go and watch the TV. So try using positive words than using reprimanding words with your child. That is the first and foremost thing. Then let's talk a little bit about how to build trust through your words. So when we trust somebody, right? Personally also for all of us, when you trust somebody, you will do, most of their suggestions, whatever they give you, you will try doing it, isn't it? Because we know that they stand by their words. So they will stick to it no matter what. The same thing, you need to build a strong trust with your child by sticking with whatever you have promised them. Like how we were talking in, pre-preparation, the same thing. Whatever you promise, tell the child, set a particular boundary, like 5 minutes of, 5 pages of homework, then 5 minutes of TV. So stand by the 5 pages as well. Don't go to the TV before 5 pages, and stand by the 5 minutes of TV as well. Don't go more than 5 minutes. 5 is an example I am saying, but whatever it is that you want the child to do. Okay. And if you promise the child that you're going to take them somewhere, then do take them there. Okay. Otherwise, they will stop believing in your words. And when you go, in the long run, when you're asking them to do which is difficult for them, they will still do it because they know that they trust you. They know that you will stick to your words, whatever you're doing. So I should also do whatever they are telling me to do. So this helps you build a very strong emotional relationship between you and your child. And even when, say, for example, your child, becomes a teenager. So if this bond is built in a strong way, they will come back to you with their problems rather than trying to solve it by themselves. They will come back to you and try to ask your suggestion. Then it's an easy way to resolve it, right? So that trust you need to start building with the kind of words you use and by sticking to whatever you have said. The third thing that we need to avoid is instructing a lot. Avoid being instructive. Imagine if somebody is going on telling you as an adult, if somebody keeps telling us, do this, sit here, go there, do it only this way, you have to write only this much. After a point, it's too much. We can't follow so many instructions. So the same thing applies to our children as well. Try not to be too instructive. At the same time, if you want them to do certain things, try giving an indirect way of doing it. For example, for a younger child, if you want them to sit and write, try using like a present continuous tense. Instead of saying sit, right, you tell them, now it's sitting time, it's writing time, it's eating time. So then it doesn't sound so instructive, but indirectly it means the same. You want the child to sit and eat, but the way you say it is different. Or there is a child who's going to school and you want them to do homework. So then, like how we discussed, first finish homework, then, we will do this. So that will indirectly tell them that you have to do the homework. Okay. And if there's a teenager and say they're going out and you want them to wear a different outfit, for example. So you don't tell them change this shirt. It's not nice. They will not listen to you. Try saying it in a different way. Say, oh, I think this blue looks better on you. My suggestion is, why don't you go change it to blue and check? So they will at least be open to changing that outfit. Indirectly, we want them to change, but we are not telling them in a direct way. We are using indirect words so that they accept it in a better manner. So these are some things which are very important with the way you talk, because it's easy to do. You can apply it in any situation with any, age group, just by modifying a few things in your speech and in your language, how you talk. Okay, so we spoke about a lot of things that we can do before, during, and after. Now imagine you told your child to do something, the child actually followed it. Like 5 minutes, 5 pages homework, then 5 minutes TV. After 5 minutes, TV is off. What will you do next? You need to appreciate that the child did that. No? How do you do that? So again, I'm giving you two options. So the park example, you have told your child that after finishing the slide, we are going to go home, and the child actually did it. So when the child did it, will you give the child a chocolate, or will you give the child a big smile and a big high five? What are you going to do? You can take the poll to answer this question. We have some opinions. What do people
Yeah.
think?
Most of them are saying it's a big hug or a high five.
Great. That
And
is
giving.
great. Yeah. Good, because you can't always keep materialistic rewards to your child. The sustainable and long term reward would be a social reward. Social meaning in which two people are involved in it. So even, when we are working right now, we are all adults working, right? When somebody appreciates us somebody says, wow, today your say you come back to me and say, wow, today your webinar was so good, then obviously that is the biggest reward for me. So that social reward holds good in every age group. So if your child is younger than 6 years, then things like giving high five, giving a big smile, a hug, saying awesome, wow, yay, all that will definitely motivate them to do that again and again. So if you want your child to do these positive things again and again, you need to acknowledge and appreciate that they did it. So the best reward that you can give is your emotional and physical appreciation. For children who are between 6 to 10, we can use a little different words like, oh, you listened so well. I loved how you did it. And you can give them a hug and say you appreciated that you listened to me. So they like it and they'll want to do it again. For a pre-teenager, like below 12 years, you can start, or a teenager, you can start using words that we use with adults. Like you can say, wow, that was an amazing job that you did. You're being such a responsible guy. That's great. I love how you did it. So then they are motivated to do it again and again. And this is something which you can start using with your children who are even 2 years old or who are even 15 years old. Everybody likes being appreciated and acknowledged for the effort that they've been putting. So the same, that appreciation and acknowledgement holds good everywhere. So whenever your child has actually followed whatever you have said, make sure you stop and, acknowledge whatever they have done. So just to summarize, first step for everything is ABC. Then before a behavior happens, you can make small tweaks in your environment or pre-prepare your child. During some of the behaviors, you can use your countdown. Then the main thing that you would be using is the way you talk and the kind of words you use. And after everything, you will definitely give them a social reward, not a chocolate or a Lego or a, of course, sometimes it is okay, but then it cannot be a trend happening every time. Then the child will do it only for that and not for them to do better. Okay. And all these 6 strategies can be used in any situations with any age group just by making some age appropriate and situation specific tweaks to it. And just just remember that initially some behaviors might go up because up until now your child might not have received such responses from you. So they're like, till now I was crying and I got the phone. Now I'm crying and I'm still not getting the phone. What is happening? So they are not used to you responding in that way. But you need to keep persisting. And ideally, it is ideal to consciously practice all the time. But as adults, even we can't do it 100% of the time. It's okay. Be kind to yourself as well. Just keep persisting with it whenever you can. So now we'll, answer your questions. We'll start taking questions now. So whatever questions you have, keep posting it so that we will answer to it.
Before we go into it, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So we have often seen children creating tantrums in public, right? So, say for example, we are traveling and bus or train or anything as such. So we often see them creating, they cry in public or something as such. So how should we handle in such situations? Because one is, we'll be feeling irritated that we are disturbing everyone. So how should we handle such situations?
So, like we were talking, first step is just step back and see why your child is doing like that. Maybe because the travel was too long, the child wants some comfort, is uncomfortable. Then, in such cases, you can't do anything. You just have to, hold them, give them that support, and let them know that you're there with them. We'll reach in 5 minutes. Or if they're hungry, give them something to eat. Try getting them to, tell you what they want. Try telling, getting them, do you want this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to eat this? Try giving them options like that, so that you're, next time when you travel, it's a little more easier for you.
Mhm.
Of course, that thing of what will the other people think is always there, but the main focus should be on your child, because you have to figure out how your child is feeling at that moment. The other people will not come to you again, but your child will always come back to you. So the way you respond will always hold good for your child rather than the other people around you.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of questions. So
Okay,
let's start taking one by one.
sure.
Um, how to get the child understand the concept of weight in this case? First question. It's by Pavitra Kasturi.
Okay. We can either say, we can use a visual, Pavitra. You can, have like a hand written like this, like, waiting time. Or you can say we are going to wait for, if your child likes counting, you can tell them you can count till 10 in your mind and wait till 10 gets over. And initially, you might want to count with them and wait with them, so that they understand, okay, if I wait, then, we are going to do it. um, I can think of these things, but okay, is impatient and keen on what he or she wants, right? So again, try using first and then. Say first we will finish this. Like again, be very very specific with what is the first. If we are going to finish only 2 pages of this book, and then we are going to go to do what you want to do.
Um, so one more question. My kid is autistic. He's undergoing OT, ABA, and speech therapy on all weekdays. He stubbornly refuses to listen and or speak whenever we try to teach him the new words. He used to be gentle, but he has started showing symptoms of aggressions towards anyone who urges him to speak. How should we approach him in this situation?
Right. So I would suggest, like, try giving him ways to communicate, or like I was saying, right? Indirect versus direct. Try not to instruct him, like, say this or do this. If you're already doing that, then try using a little different ways of him trying to express. Say, what I would usually do is, if I am trying to get him to ask me something, say this glass of water, I would just hold this a little far from him where he can't reach, and I'm looking at him expectantly. So he says, Amma, give me water, or I want water. Or in cases of, when he's feeling angry, or, he's not wanting to say something, I can also give him some prompts initially, like saying, I'm feeling, it's like a question, but I'm not asking a question. I am feeling angry. I am feeling, what do you say, happy. So that way, try giving a little prompts where you can make them, you can make him give opportunities for him to talk, rather than, directly making him talk. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I hope we have answered your question. Uh, Yeah, my child eats concentrate and all the corner of walls. What should I do?
Okay. Um first check if the child is feeling hungry. If they're feeling hungry, try giving them, opportunities to ask, like, I want to eat. Or again, just if you're considering that as a difficult to handle behavior, just go one step back and see why the child is doing it. Is it because you are you're doing some work and the child wants you to look at him or her and wants you to communicate with her? Is that why they're doing it? Or is it because they're actually hungry? Or just try to figure out what exactly is the reason. Just do the ABC first, then based on that you can respond appropriately.
Uh, we speak about generation gap. Does this really exist or is it created by adults?
Well, like personally, I feel generation gap is nothing but the kind of ideologies one set of age group will have versus certain ideologies that another set of adults will have. But it's not always that there is a gap. There are always some people who can bridge the gap, but it depends on how what situation it is, or what topic are we really thinking about. If we're thinking about the ways to handle behavior, definitely now I can see many grandparents and parents and even younger siblings trying to deal with it in a similar way, like becoming a team so that they can give one particular response in a better way. Especially with the kind of work I do, like I was telling you, we usually see a lot of children on the autism spectrum, or a lot of children with ADHD, stuttering, voice problem. So everybody, if I work with the family as a whole. So when I am telling something to a parent, many of the parents are making sure that everybody in the family is doing the same thing, so that ultimately the child gets the benefit out of it.
Our baby is 2.5 months old. I'd be thankful if you guide in this. I think there's no question in this. If you have any
Right.
questions, people, please, you
If
can
there's
just.
anything specific about it, you can please
Yeah.
post it.
My child doesn't eat without any entertainment or playing TV. Yeah, this is a very good question, actually. Certain people would have been already, used to I mean, playing, or, they'll be very particular about TV or mobile. So, how should
Right.
we get this children behavior out of this thing?
So, firstly, we should try to understand that the child did not know this concept of TV or playing or phone unless we introduced it. Now that it has been introduced, slowly we try to replace it with something which is much more interesting for the child. So, I would suggest first pick up something which is very, very interesting for the child rather than the TV. Those interests, from what I have seen, keep changing every now and then. So what is the current interest? Now it might be puzzles. Tomorrow it might be Lego. Day after tomorrow it might be books. Just observe what is that they want to do. Pick that up and try taking it with you while you're making them eat. So try the first thing. You can't just switch it off. One day you just say, I'm not going to show them TV and I'm going to feed them. It's not going to work that way. So try doing the first, and then first we will eat 5 spoons with TV, then 5 spoons with playing, then again 5 with TV. So divide it like that. Then slowly increase the number of spoons, decrease the number of spoons with TV and increase the number of things with other activity. And another ideal thing that you can do, which is even long-term solution, is try sitting as a family at the dining table, talking, or doing some kind of a different thing, which will make the child also be involved. Because as the child grows older, you can't make them sit separately, right? It's a family, dinner time or lunch time. Fix one meal in a day, which all of you sit together, and the child is probably holding a book. You are also eating. You're showing something in the book. The child is also eating. Or if your child is at this age where they can eat few things by themselves, try giving them something interesting. Like if you're making dosa, for example, do it in some different shapes so that the child is interested to look at the food rather than interested to look at the TV. Or break it into pieces and tell them, I am going to eat 5 pieces. Let's see how many pieces you're going to eat. So get them involved in that eating routine so that slowly the TV or phone or some other distraction goes out, and then it is completely, it's not a one day thing. It will not happen over one night, but it will happen slowly over a few weeks or months.
How to handle escapes and how to handle their negativity. Like I'm not able to remember, etc. It's one question. So.
Correct. One thing might be you might have to motivate the child a little more. It's okay. Whatever you remember, you write it. Whatever you know, you do it. And again, the social reward after they do it is also important. That will motivate them to do it again and again. And sometimes this of first and then has helped me with coming out of escape behavior. That is, I keep a very very interesting thing in the then part, so that they know, okay, if I quickly finish this, I can do this very fast. So rather than escaping, but I'm not going to budge if they try to do a shortcut and finish it off quickly. They have understood by now, because you are being persistent. They should understand that, okay, Amma or Appa is not going to let me unless I finish this much, then only I'm going to get it. So try working towards it. Again, whatever we are trying is not going to be an overnight change. Try doing it eventually, and they will, probably get better at it. They know that they will not be able to escape this.
Yeah. My son is 3. He starts hitting everyone when he gets excited. Any advice?
Like remember the initial discussion that we had, like behaviors can occur because there is an emotional development happening. So now the child might not know how to express that excitement. Like when we are very excited to meet somebody, we say, hi, how are you? Or we go and hug them. We say, it's so nice to see you after so long. So try giving the same words to your child. Try telling them, you can go and hug somebody. You can say, I'm so excited to see you. I like that you came to my house. I like to play with you. So give them appropriate words to express that excitement. Eventually, that will start being replaced by this hitting behavior.
How to make a child social, like wishing back someone good morning, etc.
What I have, understood up until now is the child will do whatever we are doing. So if I want the child to, respond to somebody or say hi to somebody, I start saying it on behalf of the child. So I will talk like how the child would talk. I will say, hi, auntie, hi, uncle, good evening, uncle, how are you? So then the child will also start saying the same thing. So try giving a lot of models to your child. The child will start, because you might have seen a lot of language develops by imitation. Whatever we would have used, the child will imitate the same thing and learn to use it in different situations. So the same thing might apply here as well. So when the child starts seeing a lot of models on this regard, the child will start using the same thing in that situation as well.
My child's behavior is very different when she is out of the house.
Yes, definitely. It can be positive way or in a negative way. Like I have, heard many parents telling me that in the house she talks a lot, she's very social, but as soon as she goes out, she's become like one silent sadhu types. So that is also one response I've heard. Versus at home she's very calm, whereas when she goes out, she starts showing a lot of behaviors. That is also there. Again, like if I was in that place, I would again see the one step back, the ABC, what is happening, that change is happening in the child, and then try responding according to that.
How to divert anger of child? Whatever the reason for his anger, sometimes they hit their friends.
This is similar to how they're not able to express their anger appropriately. As adults also, when we get angry, not every time we are responding appropriately, but we know that socially we can't go and hit somebody as soon as we get angry. We will either get angry and go out of the room, or we will stop talking at that moment. We will stop talking for some time, or we will express that I don't accept this, I cannot do this like this, or we just directly say this is making me angry and I need some time to calm down. So use the same thing what you would do. Try giving those words, and again it will slowly get replaced by the hitting. With friends especially, there might be so many things happening. Like maybe when they're playing something, your child might not like the rules given by the other children. So teach them to express that, like, I don't want to play like this, I don't like to play this, so that they try. When they try doing that, then the other child also will understand, so they don't have to hit at that time.
Um, how to divert anger of child, whatever. Okay, sorry, I have already answered that questions. You have already answered. So my 5-year-old kid is little slow in doing activities. Morning will be very busy. How to increase her speed of doing activities, like walk slowly, eat slowly?
Right. So in this, the pre-preparation will help you a lot. So the previous day itself, sit with the child and tell them, first we're going to wake up at this time, then we're going to brush teeth, then we're going to do this. Let the child do a few things independently and you give them that time. Say, for example, let's finish in 10 minutes and then we're going to eat an interesting breakfast today. So then automatically the speed will go up. That is one thing. And one more thing is, just try looking into why the child is doing that. Is it that they don't want to go? If I'm assuming, if it is for going to school, if they're not interested to go to school, then try making that, addressing that part as well.
Um, I have 5, and the youngest are more naughty and the balanced one. How to handle situation where, sorry, again, there is a no question over here, Manoj. How to handle situation where a kid bites someone in daycare? Oh my God.
Right. So there are a lot of complaints that come like this, where the child is biting another child. Most commonly, the reason might be either they're very excited about something happening, so they can't hold that excitement and they just bite, or they're very angry at something that has happened, so they try showing that by biting, or somebody has said no to them, denied something to them, so they try responding with a bite. So I would try to, my again suggestion would be, just ask with the daycare as to what happened, why did they bite somebody, and parallelly try using books which has a lot of emotion words in them, like, when I'm angry I can do this, or you can create a story for your child, based on the situations. Give them some solutions, like, when I'm angry I can, go to a corner, I can breathe, I can say that I'm angry, I need a break. Or when I'm excited, I can hug the person, I can, squeeze something very hard. So give them solutions through those stories, so that they have words and different ways to express that. Rather than like biting, hitting, pushing, they can try using this.
Is there any suggestions or comments how to handle newborn babies? I mean, how can we understand they're crying, or are they hungry or uncomfortable or something as such?
I think as you start parenting, you would understand different needs of your newborn. Like, initially, when they're crying for hunger, when they're crying for, uncomfortable. So, initial few weeks, I think, would be a little difficult. But later, when you start understanding their different cries in different times of the day, you might be able to, get a better idea as to how to handle it. But I would suggest, for a newborn, whenever they're in a good mood, right, just try building a lot of interaction with them and try getting that bond strong from the day one, so that as they get older, they it's very easy to handle them.
Um, how to handle situation where kid bites? Again, there is one more repeat of that question. My son daily asks for roti sabzi every night after 12 last couple of months. Need to regularize his eating habit.
Yeah, I think there's no question in this, but try keeping a fixed schedule, that, after this we're going to do this, after this we're going to do this, so that you can include your eating time in a, like a decent eating time. I think we missed one question, Chandana. Is behavior the outcome of misunderstanding or not being understood? Is there an underlying psychological or psychiatric issue? How do we know? So yes, behavior sometimes might be, like I was telling you, when a child has a communication difficulty, they're not able to, give out the message as easily as a person without a difficulty would be able to give. So then they get that frustration that others are not understanding what I'm trying to say. Or if the child says something and we interpret it in a different way, definitely it's like a miscommunication, right? They mean something and we understood something, and they are not able to give that clarity. So then it gets difficult for them to explain. So it might come out as a behavior. No is again the ABC part. So you try to analyze it a little. Sometimes it might not strike immediately, honestly, and it's okay, because we are also learning with the child how to handle the child. So it's okay to take the time and understand later as well. And like how as adults we would if some misunderstanding has happened with another person, then we would go back to them and talk about it, right? You can also go back to your child and talk to them about it. If you feel that it has happened that way, after you've thought about it, if you feel it has happened that way, just go back and address it. It's okay.
My son is 1.5 years and he's not communicating or going through other people other than my family. Is there any reason for this behavior?
Well, I'm not sure, like, how much time is your son spending with you versus how much time is your son spending with other people in the family. Try balancing that out. If, the child is very attached to you and spending a lot of time with you, that might be one reason why it is happening that way. And right now, since the child is 1.5, it's okay to, for him to get that response from you. But if that is affecting your quality of life, then try making other people in your family do some interesting things with the child. Because child is 1.5 years old, you can do a lot of physical games, like jumping, making the child jump, making the child bounce on a ball, tickling the child, playing peekaboo, hide and seek, run and catch. So if other people start to play that, then the child will also be interested to go and play with them. But one reason might be that they're still very attached to you, and it's okay, because he is still 1.5 years old. Slowly try, once they start going to school is when they actually try leaving the parents and coming out, right? So till then they're always with parents. So they will take a little while to do that. But try using some kind of interesting activities where they start going to other people in the family as well. Or maybe you can take it as a compliment, thinking that you are the most fun person in the family, so they want to always be with you.
Yeah, I think we can take one last question.
Sure.
If you have more questions, there is a contact form over here. You can reach out to her, or for any other whatever she offers, you can reach out to her again over here. Um, my child has become more reserved when compared to previous years. She's 6 years now, not even responding for a hi. Why this change suddenly?
Just think of what is the difference in the child's life happened. Did something happen, or did you move houses? Did you go to a new place? Is there a new set of friends? First, try addressing the big, if there is any big change that has happened to the child. If there is no such change, then try slowly talking to the child as to what happened. I see that you've become very quiet nowadays. Do you think you want to talk to me about it? Try sharing it might not be real incidents from your end, but try giving examples of yours. Like, sometimes when I want to talk to somebody, I don't feel like talking to them because I don't like them, or I feel scared to talk to other people. When I was like, I was going to school, or when I was small, I was also feeling scared to talk to people. So do you think something like that is happening with you? Try giving some examples to say that even, it's okay to feel that way and she can talk about it. Try finding out if there is some hidden reason behind it. If you find that and you can solve it out, well and good. Else, you might have to see, if you want to, what other way we can approach it.
Yeah, there are a lot of more questions coming in, but we have crossed our time. So let's, I think, conclude. Once again, thank you so much, Akila, for such an enlightening session. I know everyone here has walked away with some valuable insights to bring in to their everyday lives. A big thank you to all of you who has joined us today. If you want more updates on wellness or future events, make sure to follow our social media page. We can't wait to see you until next Wellness Wednesday. Until then, take care and enjoy those little moments with your loved ones.
Thank you, Chandana, and thank you, Onsurity, for this opportunity, and all of you who took out time to join us today. I hope there is something that you took from this session today. I'll be very glad if you start using those small things, and don't forget to have fun with your children.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.